What is up, everybody? It's Dr. GTA, and I'm coming to an exclusive video showing you the settings of GTA 5 on PC. Now, here's all the settings. Obviously, I'm hooked up to an Xbox controller, and you can see that these are all the settings. Just watch these, look at them if you want to, whatever there's on foot. And I guess you can change the on foot third person, in vehicle third person, in aircraft third person, on foot first person, and all this stuff. I'm just going to slowly go through these to show you. You can create your own. And there's various there's the third person and the first person ones. I'm just going to go through them slowly so you can pause it anytime you see what you need. Then you've got free aim. You can change lock targeting mode, blah, 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 blah. And it's pretty much the same as it was. And yeah, there's so many different ones. And then there's vibration on off, there's inverted look on off, there's third person control type, standard or alternate, southpaw, and there's so many different ones. I have no idea what these are, dude. Then there's obviously these as well. I'm not sure what they're for. Third person aiming sensitivity, first person looking around sensitivity, aiming sensitivity, third person looking around sensitivity, third person aim looking dead zone. So I guess it's when you're looking, zooming in, looking, zooming in from first person. Third person looking acceleration, how fast it gets to the zoom. And then that's third person as well. You have allowing the movement when zoomed, so you can have movement, I guess. So when you're running, I don't know, it'll shake a little bit, or you can turn it off. And that definitely just changes everything again. You have an alternate handbrake control, so if you want to do like, you can switch your handbrake to the right, and it switches some controls around here. I'm not sure what and then you have drive-by control type, aim and fire. You've got restoring your settings. That's pretty much the control settings. When we go to keyboard and mouse, you've got raw input. You can change this, and you can change direct input, windows, raw input. Mouse sensitivity, you can change that with the toggle. There's an on and off switch, camera, vehicle, on, off, camera, vehicle, on, off, camera, vehicle, on, off for all of the flying, driving, and submarines, underwater vehicles, driving sensitivity, plane sensitivity, heli sensitivity, it's a helicopter, submarine, mouse flying, on and off, inverting mouse submarine, off, auto center, mouse on bikes, mouse in cars, mouse aircraft, and you can restore defaults. Then you also have your key bindings here, and you can make changes to your key bindings to control you. Press enter to start. So when you do that, you can go and change all of these settings for combat, weapon selection, movement, general, vehicles, general, bikes, cars, boats, aircrafts, submersibles, parachute, cell phones, and you can restore. GTA Online has their own for the text chat, everyone, push to talk. You can use push to talk online, drop weapons and everything like that. Let's go back, escape. Then we'll go to audio here. Audio, I was looking through the drivers, there was a lot of different settings. You can do self radio mode, sequential, random, radio. So radio is just like with commercial breaks. Sequential is just all sequential with no commercials. And there's random, just random scan. And I'm not sure if it uses commercials. Dialogue, you can turn the dialogue boosting up, or you can turn it off. Music volume, we're going to crank that down a little bit. I always just do about that, and I do that all the way up. Auto scan for music, on and off. You can perform a quick scan if you have music files in your MP3 folder, which probably are, I'm not sure where those are at, we'll check in a minute. Perform full scan for music, output stereo speakers, or you can do surround, TV, headphones, stereo speakers. Stereo is what I have, but I'm going to do surround. You can mute audio on focus loss. That's cool. And you can restore defaults. And then you can go to camera. You can allow camera modes, vehicle camera height, so you can have it lower or higher. We're going to go mid. Oh, there's high or low. So I'm guessing low is probably best. First person auto level camera on off. Allowing independent curve modes on off. There's a first person on foot field of view, which is how far you can see. We're going to turn that all the way up. I want to see it all the way up. I don't want to just not see far. First person ragdoll on, first person combat roll on, These are just on-off switches. Head bobbing on. First person, third person cover on off. First person vehicle auto center on off, which would be like centering the vehicle if you're looking in from the middle of the vehicle, I think. Which is kind of weird. I don't want that on. And then we have first person vehicle hood on or off. I don't know if I like that or not. But yeah, I think I'm just gonna leave it on. It's not gonna hurt anything. Then we'll go to display. Here we have a radar. You can turn those on or off. Blips are on or off, pretty much the same thing. HUD on or off. Simple, or you can go complex. That's pretty much your weapons target for if you want to see like meters and such in it. And you got your simple reticule size, which is how big the reticule actually is when you're shooting, which is 0. GPS route on or off. Brightness, you can change it here. Mine's obviously already good. Safe zone size. Oh, so you can actually change this, as you can see, the safe zone for like certain things you want to pick up. That's pretty cool. Screen kill effects on or off. So like if you get shot or something, or you know, you get hit or blood or glass, it'll hit the screen. It looks like the screen's breaking, so it's pretty cool. And you can turn subtitles on for those with English, and that's pretty much the display. Then we'll go to graphics, and you can see it's using 6 megabytes of 8. Obviously, I'm running a lot of RAM over here too. This is one of my setups where I'm actually running 2 980 hybrids in SLI, so this is why it's showing 8 megabytes. They're 4 gig each, and here's my data. It shows the meter and also shows what you're using and what you're not. Ignore suggested limits off or on. Using more than you can result in performance drops. Use with caution. Let's see, click OK. So that's just, you turn this on if you want to save your graphics card. So turn it off if you turn it off if you want to save your graphics card. Turn it on if you don't want to save your graphics card. You can use DirectX 11, or you can use 10.1, 10, 11. So it's pretty much compatible with 10 and 11. You got your full screen, you've got windowed borderless, you've got windowed, you've got full screen. That's pretty much it. Resolutions, I'm running 3840 by 2160, but I also have 1920 by 1080, 1680 by 1050, 1600 by 1024, 1600 by 900, 1440 by 900, 1366 by 768, 1360 by 768, 1280 by 1024, 1280 by 960, 1280 by 800, 1280 by 768, 1280 by 720, 1176 by 664, 1152 by 864, 1024 by 768, 800 by 600, and that's the maximum minimum 4K to 800 by 600. I'm going to try to run 8K later. You can do auto, aspect ratio 3.2, 4.3, 5.3, 5.5, 4, 16.9, 16.10, 16 over 10. Auto, I'm going to do auto. Sorry I'm talking so fast, I drink a Red Bull. Refresh rate 60 hertz. You can also go 50, 30, 29, 24, 23, 59. I'm going to go 60. FXAA, you can turn that on or off. MSAA on or X4, X8 or off. You can also do, I think you have to turn one of these. There you go. Turn that on. You can turn this on or off, which is your NVIDIA TXA, which is pretty good too. I don't run any FX anti-aliasing. When you're running this resolution, you don't really need it. VSync on or half or off or on. You can pause game on focus loss. When you pause the game and it blurs out the back, that's what that does. When you push pause and all the back of the environment blurs, that's what that is. Population density, that's how the AI, how much AI is actually in there. Like, you know, with basically vehicles and cars and everything. That's including anything that moves with animations in the AI field. So it can be dogs, people, birds, planes, anything. Population variety is the random variety of vehicles around driving, and people, and pretty much different varieties of people mixed together. Kind of like, you know, in GTA 4 where there's a lot of bullshit that always would happen when you'd get like the same car spawning every time. Well, you want this way up, all the way up, if you want the variety is the most random. And it looks like it doesn't affect the memory that much as well, only by about 250 megabytes. Distance scaling. Okay, so distance scaling is something I'd like to talk about too. How far you can see things into view as with the quality. So it's pretty much how far you can see. It's basically your view distance for GTA 4. So if you want to worry about that, that's that. Texture quality, very high. Texture quality is just the textures, how you see the textures on everything, like his pants or the fence, how sharp they are, how good quality. And you can go normal, high or very high. Shader quality, if you want, there's different types of shader, normal, high, or very high. Basically, shaders are like when you see all this stuff in the background here. We'll go in game in a minute. Basically, you can see like the dirt, or you know, there's dirt, there's rain, there's stuff like that all in the game, and this basically renders it in a better resolution with like better quality dirt, better quality bump. A bump map gives something an edge, or like a standout feel. Even though it's a flat image, it gives it more of a bump out. Like it's kind of bumpy, kind of like you can touch it and it'll actually feel rough or something. And then it's also got different types of speck. A speck is actually when the sun reflects or something reflects off of it. It looks really nice. That's what shaders are. So these things can definitely help your game. If you just want to, you could actually probably turn this down and then go very high on your shader quality if you want to keep really nice quality. Shadow quality, honestly, the things that I'm going to say, if you're using Kepler or older base GPUs like 600 series or 700 series, this is probably the biggest killer right here. So I would definitely keep this on normal, and you will probably see a huge increase in frame rate. Obviously, you're using 300 megabytes from normal to high right there, so definitely keep it on shadows on normal. Reflection quality, I wouldn't worry too much about this. I would just probably keep it on high, but there's also ultra, so I'm gonna go ultra just to test it out. Reflection on MSAA, obviously if you're not using MSAA that's up here, you probably don't need to use that, so I'm just gonna turn that off. Again, we're using 4K, so there's no reason to use multi-sampling, anti-aliasing. Water quality is at very high. You can do normal or high. Water quality should always be around the top. I would say keep that around I would keep it on high if you're on a recommended specs. Particle quality is very high. I'm gonna obviously be on very high. There's no ultra for it for some reason. Particles are the details in the game, like there's like a water hose over here, a bush, some paper on the ground, something rolling in the wind, a prairie dune barrel running through, or you know, little details that add up to the space to make it feel more like people are around it and are using the space. Grass quality, obviously it speaks for itself, and they can go to ultra too. Soft shadows, you can go softest. AMD, which is AMD optimized CHS, or NVIDIA PCSS, which is optimized for NVIDIA as well. You can go sharp, soft, softer, or softest. I would recommend using softest if you can. Shadows, this is not going to take a toll on you as much as you think. This is just something I would keep as high as you can. And if you have a recommended specs, I would just use softest, because it's going to actually help out if you can't go high on shader quality if you have a 600 or 700 series Kepler based GPU architecture. Post effects, I would keep that on either high or very high. This is definitely something you want to use if you can't hit high resolutions and you can't do a lot of these settings. If you can't hit a lot of these settings and you're still getting problems, this post effects will help you out wonders. It helped me in DayZ, and it'll definitely help you. And basically what this does is it makes everything in the game look really good. It adds like a Photoshop layer to it, just to give it a little bit of layer, but it's not very, it's almost fixated. So when you're playing the game, it's adding an additional little Photoshop layer to make it look good, even though it really doesn't look that good. It's adding that a little icing on the cake for the finishing touches. Those little details really matter when you're playing a game and you really have just a budget system. So I recommend using this for a lot of that. Motion blur strength. When you're driving your car, when you're running, when you're flying in the air, you'll see blur. You can turn this up to give you more blur, or you can turn it down to give you less blur. I recommend keeping it around there for realism, but if you really like blur, just crank that bitch up if you want to be blurry. In-game depth of field effects. If you don't know what that is, when you're playing on PlayStation 4, and you've probably seen trailers of GTA 5 and probably played GTA 4, and even in real life, even in movies, when you look and you see something, like if it's focused on something and you see the background's blurred, kind of like it's like you can't see, you see it, but it's just blurry, like someone took it and made it hazy. That's what this is. You can turn it on or off, and you can keep it. And I would recommend having it on for that realism. If you're running really high quality resolutions, there's no need to have it on, because you're going to be rendering so high quality sharpness that it's going to give it its own detail anyway, and that looks more realistic. Some people don't like it, some people do. Your eyes are naturally going to use the iris of your eyes when you look at certain parts of the screen, because you can't focus on the whole screen anyway. So when even if you're looking at the whole screen from like the traditional amount of feet you're supposed to look away, you're really just going to look at the screen and you're going to look at one point, and your eyes are not going to focus on the rest. So it's going to naturally do your depth of field. But if you want some realism, without doing that. And you're going to show gameplay, recommend using on-off. Anisotropic filtering, that's obviously a no-brainer. That's always been X16. It doesn't do a lot of performance costs. Ambient occlusion, this is one of those that you might not want to mess with. But in this game, it is actually one you do want to mess with. I would recommend keeping it on high because it's one of those things that doesn't cost a lot of memory and a lot of GPU consumption or CPU. The only ones that actually run your CPU really high are going to be your population variety, your density, and your density scaling. These are going to be the ones that kill your CPU. So if your CPU is underpowered but your GPU is overpowered, I would recommend turning these down before you mess with any of your other settings. Okay, now we'll go back to where we're at. Motion blur strength. You can actually, you can turn the motion blur up. Okay, we're done with that. Ambient occlusion, obviously ambient occlusion is something that gives you shadows. When sun shines and retracts, you'll see shadows and you'll see depths through things that are just not 2D or not 3D, like these cracks on this tile and smudges around here and the shaders around this pole. It gives it a little touch, and I'd recommend putting that all the way up. It's not too performance costly as well. Tessellation. Tessellation gives things like these bricks a 3D feel if they're not. It makes them rigid. I recommend having that all the way up. It's not very cost heavy as well. And that's pretty much it. We're going to apply these. And it should be, are you sure you want to proceed? I do want to proceed, but we're going to change these later because now we're going to go jump over to the advanced graphics. Okay, so here we go. Changing these options may reduce the game performance. These are the ones that are really going to be ultimate killers, even if you have a Titan X, Titan Z, or whatever. I have a Titan Z. I also have 980 hybrids, and I also have other graphics cards too that I'm going to be trying on this. So long shadows. Long shadows are the shadows that you can see. Say if you're playing the game and you look far away from like a high LOD. Basically, LOD is something that loads a generic viewing of the texture from far away. It's really low detail, but it looks really good because you're so far away. If you turn the long shadows on, those far away places will generate shadows, and those will actually use a lot of, I would say, more memory and more memory consumption on your memory bus of your GPU. They might actually not mess with it a lot, but as you can see when I turn this on and off, it doesn't change any of the video RAM memory effects, so I wouldn't worry about it. High resolution shadows, if you really want good quality and you're trying to film something that you really need details, I'd recommend using this only probably if you're in 1080p and you can't get 4K, because it's going to definitely help with that. You don't really need it at 4K because it's going to render shadows at 4K anyway, and you don't need to do that. High detail streaming while flying, on or off. Basically, I'm not sure of this yet. I'm going to guess this is something to do with streaming either online or something to do with when you're something with the ripples and the waves. I'm not sure what it is. We'll have to mess with that one. Extending distance scaling. Basically, when you look around the distance, it's going to give you more quality further off. So if you turn this up, it's going to do it. You can see when I crank this up, I can easily hit 7 gigs right there out of my 8 just by turning that all the way up. And if I go back down, it's taking me back down. And so it's 700 megabytes just for that. And extending shadow distance. Extending shadow's distance obviously is just like this high resolution shadow and the long shadow, except for this is something that's pretty much extending the distance even further if you want more detail further away, if you're doing a long shot, if you're flying. If you do a lot of flying in the air, I would recommend turning other settings down in your graphics menu before changing this, and I would keep this at high as you can because it's going to give you more of your long stuff you need. If you're flying around, you want to see a nice overview, trying to film some nice pilot action or something where you see a lot of the sky and a lot of the area around you. I would recommend that. Voice chat. Okay, listening, voice chat is enabled or off. You can use your speakers from whatever your default. You can actually use your default NVIDIA, which this is hooked up to my monitor. My monitor is an NVIDIA monitor. No, it's not. It's hooked up to my Vizio monitor, and so you can default put the output device to whatever, like say your HDMI input for your monitor. If it has speakers on it, it'll pick it up, and you can actually do through your speakers of your monitor, or you can do through your speakers that are hooked up to your jacks on the back of your sound card. So you can, and too bad you can't do both. I wish you could. That'd be cool. Voice chat volume, how high the volume is in comparison to your sound effects, obviously during the voice chat. So you can change this to change it down or higher. You can also change your audio here, which is not as the same as, these are your basic levels whenever you're playing offline and online. But when you go to voice chat here, these are what's going to change to these. Whenever people talk, these are the ones that are going to change to these values. So your normal fixed values when you're playing the game without people talking are going to be these, and then voice chat's going to be these. And your music volume will lower too. I'm going to probably lower that down around there. And then my SFX volume during chat, I'm going to probably put that about right half. I'm going to do voice chat all the way up, obviously, because you want voice chat. Microphone enabled, you can turn it on or off. You can do your voice volume, obviously you can change it. And that my input mic is right there. And I can't change it because I only have one mic. You can do push to talk. You can do voice activation. You can see it's picking up my voice right now. Cool. You can do push to talk. Pretty much the only two options. You can change the microphone volume, the microphone sensitivity. Let's go up here and change it. You go to voice activation to change your sensitivity. Then you go down and you can turn it down. Now, as you can see, as I turn it down, it's not picking up my voice. As soon as I get to about half, it stops picking up my voice. So that's a really good way. I'd recommend doing this like this. So I would recommend halfway if you're your default and you only have like fans on and there's no music. Maybe a little lower if you're playing music. So I'm going to turn mine down a little bit, even more, about right there. About right there. Yeah, right there. Or right there. Right there. Or right there. Yeah, I think right here is perfect. And that's pretty much it for that. And you go to notifications. Obviously, you can get phone alerts in game, stat alerts, crew updates. You can turn all this off so it's not annoying you when you're playing your game. I'm going to keep all this on because you never know what you're going to learn as you play the game. So I would recommend keeping those on. Your messages, you can get those too. That's pretty badass. Rockstar Editor. You can... Oh, and it even picks up your gig. Obviously, it's going off local disk. You can probably change this to your other drives as well, but I'll do another tutorial on that later. This allocated storage is using 0 megabytes. So obviously this is how much megabytes I've recorded in the video editor. This isn't like I'm using Shadowplay right now to record this. So this is not actually using what is actually being recorded by Shadowplay. This is using its own little capture software within GTA 5, which I recommend using. I haven't tested it out, but I'm going to compare it to Shadowplay and see if there's any quality difference. I might actually use it more, but Shadowplay is still my #1. You can do upload status. You can change if you want them public, unlisted, or private. You can do Rockstar Editor tooltips on or off. These are just tooltips to show you how to use the editor. Upgrading your graphic settings for video export. Pretty much you can turn this on if you need to, like say you can play the game in low quality on all of your display. You can go here and turn all this down to like 800 by 600 resolution, all that stuff. You can go back here, and whenever you actually export your video, even if you can't run the game, when you're exporting the video, you can render the game out in high quality. So the game is going to recreate that image or whatever you're making, that scene, and it'll render it out using whatever settings you want, I think. And it'll actually, I'm just guessing on this one, but I think it'll use it so it renders it in high quality so you actually get what you want, even though you can't run the game at that resolution and that quality. And that's pretty much it. And then that's pretty good. And then you'll go here, saving in startup. Back to this one more time. It's saying I'm using 25 gigs of 88.7 available. I can only use up to 25 gigs, I guess, for this, but I'm not using any of the 25 gigs max. So I guess it caps it at 25. There's probably a setting to change that as well for saving videos for video editor. This is, again, excluding Shadowplay. So let's go to saving and startup to finally finish this up. The landing page. You can turn that on or off. I guess your landing page is where you start out when you load up. You can either go directly to quit settings or start single player, or you can turn that off to just go right in game, or you can change it to either load directly to GTA Online or load up to starting mode or to story mode, and that's pretty much it. I think that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys. Now I'm going to do some comparisons of GTA 5 compared to PS4, PS3, and other graphic settings, comparing each other and other benchmarking fun tips. If you like this video, hit like on it and subscribe for more Dr. GTA tech tips and tutorials and other comparisons and other mods as long as GTA 5 is on PC. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. If you had any suggestions, get down in the comment section and get that going, because I am ready to answer questions if anybody needs help. I've been a veteran of GTA 5 on PC and GTA 4, everything since 2001. So anybody needs help, let me know and I'll try my best to help you. I don't know everything, but I will try. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. And I also forgot one little thing. When you're done changing your graphic settings, you can hit the tab button to run your benchmarks. You can see there's a button down here in the right corner where you can run your benchmarks for whatever thing you want to do, and I think it reports them back to your document settings. Also, if you want to put your MP3s for your audio, the default place I think for that is going to be in My Documents / Grand Theft Auto 5 / Music. And you just put MP3s of any kind, AAC files I think will work. Anything that's not DMC copyrighted or like, you know, iTunes music that you bought would work, I think. So thanks for watching.